If you are no longer affected by the judgment of others and you stop judging yourself, would you make different choices? Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here's the host of Inspired Choices Radio Show, Possibilities Coach, Christine McIver.
Wow, here we are. How are you? Welcome, everyone. Whether you are joining me live or you're joining me in the replay, I'm so grateful for you. And we've got another rockin' show to get this night started off. So, we are, it is May the 3rd, 2017. It is a gorgeous night here in Toronto. The sun is just starting to set. It's been a beautiful day. It's been a busy day. I've been rocking and rolling since early morning, and my body is like, are we done yet? And I said, pretty soon, honey, pretty soon. You just hang on now. We just got one more thing we're going to do, and then we're going to have a nice evening with our daughter. So I'm a little crazy. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be straight up. I just woke up from a nap. So, God help us what's going to come out of my mouth tonight. Sometimes, you just have to take a nap. So, tonight's show is choosing for you, even when it seems crazy. This choosing is big. Yes, my show is called Inspired Choices. Yes, the network is called Inspired Choices, and it's still funny about the choosing piece. So, I'm going to get into that in just a second. I would love to tell you all about me. So I am a possibilities coach. I love to work with individuals that are having challenges in the area of their anything personal, maybe relationships, teenagers, self-confidence, money, whatever it is that they are really struggling with, or where they would really love to expand that area. Because you don't have to have a problem to hire a coach. Did you know that coaches began with the CEOs of organizations because they didn't have anyone that they could have any confidence and anonymity within their organization. And that's when they started to hire external individuals who are now known as coaches. So they're not necessarily looking at it. They weren't necessarily looking at it from the space of what's wrong, but the desire to choose greater. And what's tonight all about? Choosing. So I am a possibilities coach. I'm also a certified facilitator with Access Consciousness, radio show host, producer, and I'm the creator of the Inspired Choices Network, which makes me so happy every time I get to say that. So if there's something that you're interested in working with me, I'd love to hear from you. I've got a lot of different programs popping right now. The Up Your Ask program is something I'm enjoying so much, and you can check that out on my website at inspiredchoices.ca. It's 100 days of upping our ask and really really asking from the space of more and from the space of knowing. And 100 days where we're getting together and people can still join. Absolutely. Today was only day 3. And you can still join. You can come in. Every day we connect in a Facebook group for 100 days. And my gosh, the energy in there is phenomenal. I am enjoying it so very much. And all the different places and spaces where we find ourselves operating from. And it's just interesting to see the subtleties of where some of these asks might be, or the energy on them, or the conclusions, or why you can and you shouldn't and you should, and how you should and who you should do it for, and all this, how it really slows us down. So it's absolutely amazing. And yes, all of the replay link, all of the links to join are in this replay. If you would like to join us, I'd love to have you come play. So that's the Up Your Ask program. I've done with my wonderful co-creator, Rhonda Burns, the Pleasuring Money, and it was a 6-part series, 90 minutes each, and you can get all of those calls still for only $10. And I'm telling you, it blew the socks off of the two of us and we had over 100 people in that call. It was phenomenal. And then we just started, and you can still get in on it, we started the Advanced Pleasuring Money. So that's going to be 5 calls, 90 minutes again, and that is only $75. And I'm telling you, we had the first call this week, and it knocked everybody over. It was so cool. So that's another thing that I do. I also do the foundation class with Access Consciousness. My next class starts May the 18th through the 21st, and my next bars class is this Saturday, May the 6th. You can learn more about all of that at accessconsciousness.com. So those are just some of the things that I do. I could talk about what I do for many, many hours, but you came to hear all about choosing for you, even when it seems crazy. So choosing for you can sometimes be wildly scary, especially when everyone you speak to says, "What? Why the hell would you choose that? I just care about you, and I hate to see you doing this to yourself." What if you actually know what is really true for you and what is required to create what you desire? Have you ever really stopped and looked at this? Looked at this from the space of, I know what's true for me. I absolutely know that choosing this will create greater. Now, what's the difference? Let's just dial it back. And you know what? I would love to have you join me in the chat room on the Inspired Choices Network page. You just click on chat room, put any name in, and come on in and ask your questions, or feel free to call in. I would love to speak to someone about this who is struggling or is really confused about what choosing is for them. In Canada, it's 613-800-8736, or the U.S. 815-880-8255. So, choosing. And, you know, the difference between knowing and cognitive information is so many times knowing is something, it's instant, it's your gut, it's this space where you just, I have to do this. I don't have reason, justification, evidence, scientific proof, or, you know, a poll of 100 people that says it's the right thing. It's just there's something for me in this that is so pulling me in. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Keisha. Yes, and as my wonderful producer reminded me, you can also Skype in from all around the world. Just come to the website page, and you'll see the Skype button right there in the chat room. Thank you. Well, you'd think I would know these things, Keisha? Thank God, even I need a producer to keep me on track. Holy moly. So, have you ever had this just this instantaneous gut reaction like, yeah, this is what I'm having, right? I love to break it down very, very simply because we all do, but when we make it such a big deal, we think we don't. So imagine you go into a restaurant and they have a buffet. You don't usually see people standing there going, oh, what are you having, Bob? Bob, whatever you're having, I'll have because that must be the right choice. No. We don't do that. We walk up and we go, the shrimp looks good and the beef looks good and wow, check out those salads over there. And forget the salads. Look at the desserts, right? And we just choose. So we have our dessert and then we go back for some soup and then we go up and, you know, we have some weird thing that we get back to our plate and we go, I have no idea what this even is. And we eat it and we're like, wow, that's awesome. I should find out what it is. And it's like, that's the space of just following your knowing. And do you know why it's so much easier for us to choose in a situation like that than it is in our lives? Because it's based on significance. It's based on judgment. Our judgment, all the judgments we have in our heads from other people, the judgments of society, all the belief systems in our culture, all the belief systems with the people around us. Faith says, that's cool. I need to be in the space of a buffet. Well, Faith, what if the universe, the earth that we are on, what if you started to see that as the buffet? What if you really stepped back from the significance of everything and started to really see that the universe has got so much available to us, and this is the buffet? A buffet equals if you make a wrong choice, you just leave it on your plate. So no big deal. Exactly, Faith. Thank you. That's the thing. Like, go back to the buffet. If you don't like it, you leave it and you choose something else. And if you like it, you choose it again until you don't desire to choose it anymore. So that is, first of all, the space of choosing. Choose it until it works for you. And when it no longer works for you, choose something else. Now, I know for a lot of people, that actually seems crazy. But who are you here for? Are you here to please your parents? Are you here to please society? Are you here to get some friggin' accolades that you are finally acceptable and you can be loved and you might finally be happy? Well, you know what? All you need to do is look around at the thousands and millions of people, or pick up people's biographies, read them. So many people will say, I was doing this for my mom. I was doing this for my dad. I was doing this because it was the family business. I was doing this because it was an arranged marriage, right? There's so many of these places and spaces where we operate from, and then we begin to realize that spark that's inside of us, that sprinkle of light that wants to burst out of us, has no place in our lives because we're following someone else's spark, someone else's bubble. What does that do for us? Do you know what it can begin to do? First of all, if you're choosing your life to please someone else, what can begin to happen very quickly or very subtly is resentment can start to build up in you. Resentment, I know for sure that in the 12-step programs, that resentment is actually considered one of the number one triggers, one of the number one killers to put you back into harm's way with your addiction. I don't necessarily go by the 12-step programs, but I do know that this piece is a very well-known across many things. In the health industry, with doctors and so on, resentment is like this burning anger that you're holding on to in your gut, and you're just sitting there seething. You're just sitting there seething, and it starts to get stronger and stronger and stronger, and then all of a sudden one day it explodes. It can explode all over the person that you were supposedly choosing for. It can explode all over people that have nothing to do with it, or even more often, it can explode within you, and where you then start to work towards depression, possibly suicide, ill health, severe diseases, because you've got this dis-ease in all of your being, and there's no way that your body cannot actually absorb all of that. So this first piece, I know it was a little heavy coming out of the gate with the first part of the show, but this piece is really, really important. You've got to check yourself. Who am I choosing this for? And if you choose something and then you go to someone and you share it with them and they're really, really pleased and they pat you on the back as if it was theirs, you got to pay attention to that. You really want to pay attention to, why am I choosing this? Who am I choosing this for? Because when it is connected to someone else, you've got to keep checking on if this is really true for you. And if it is, fantastic. If choosing something that makes someone else happy also makes you happy, bada boom, bada bing. Cool. But don't choose it first for them. Choose it first for you. So we are going to go to our first break of the night. When we get back, we're going to dive in deeper into what choosing for you, even when it seems crazy, actually is a major, major contribution. So you're listening to Inspired Choices here on the Inspired Choices Network with myself, Christine McIver. And when we get back, we'll continue into this. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions? Or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. The chat room makes me laugh. I've got people commenting in there. They're cracking me up. Oh, my God. It's so much fun. I'm telling you. We're so blessed to have this chat room to get to play with. Oh, my gosh. It's phenomenal. Yes, Keisha, it could be. I can't tell you what she said. You got to come into the chat room to read it. Okay, so, Keisha, I got to do a radio show now. Stop making me laugh. All right, we were talking about choosing for you even when it seems crazy. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of things that seemed crazy in my world and that I chose. And it really rocked some people's worlds, and they could not get their head around it. So one of the big things that I chose that people couldn't get their head around was I had built a home. And I was living and working in a city of about a couple hours from Toronto. And I had built my own home. It was a beautiful home, brand new. It had everything in that home that I desired. And I had worked a long time to get to that space of purchasing it, and then I had taken such good care. I had been there for nearly 5 years, and it was awesome. I mean, I had this backyard that I absolutely loved, and I had always had people over, and it was fabulous. And yet something inside of me was no longer really excited about the house. It felt like it was actually holding me back from growing. And I had to put so much time and effort and money into maintaining the home. And I don't mean money as in there were repairs with a brand new home. I just mean the normal stuff. And after a while, it just wasn't fun anymore. And so what I actually did was I sold that home after all that time of working towards it. I sold it. And I moved a couple of hours away, and I started all over again. And because of my business, I left clients that were in that city, and I began fresh with very little in front of me. And at the time, it seemed really crazy. It didn't make sense. But there was something in me. I couldn't point to it logically, although I tried. There was something in me that said, no, it's time. And you know what? I was a country girl. I was brought up in the country, a very small country. When I moved into the city, the big city, it had 20,000 people in it. I was overwhelmed, and that was when I was an 18-year-old girl. And for me then to move to the Toronto area just about blew my mind. But there was something that kept pulling me in my knowing to choose it. Financially, it didn't make any sense. Investment-wise, it didn't make any sense. Business-wise, it didn't make any sense. But there was something inside me that said, yes, it's time. It's time. You see, I've had these desires and I've had these targets to, in my life and in my business, to grow and to be out there and be more visible and to travel the world. And all of those things, have been there. And I didn't realize that by leaving what I had created and moving in a direction of the unknown was actually pulling me towards those very things that I'd been asking for. It didn't make sense to anybody else, but I knew it. And I'm telling you something, it was not easy out of the gate. It was not easy breezy. There was so many challenges, and there were so many times that I said, what the hell was I thinking? And I would, criticize myself a ton. And there was a big financial, swinging left and right and all over the place. But when I would think about going back, it was great big no. It was a big, heavy no. And it wasn't that I gave a crap about what people would say. Okay, maybe a little bit of a crap, but hardly. For the most part, there was just a knowing inside of me that I didn't belong there anymore, even though I lived there for 20 years. So where in your life, where in the spaces of your reality do you know that something no longer fits? Are you willing to look at that? And are you willing to not make yourself wrong for that? So many of us we get this awareness of something, and then we start to criticize ourselves. We start to put ourselves down, and where we're thinking, like, what's wrong with me? Shouldn't I just be satisfied? Oh my God. How many times have people said to me, why are you doing this again? Can't you just settle down and be satisfied? Oh my God, that makes me want to scream. No, I'm not going to settle down. I'm never going to be satisfied. Oh, I'm going to enjoy myself to the max. But satisfaction to me, being satisfied, has the energy of it's enough. It's good enough. You know what? There is a big, beautiful world to explore, to enjoy, people to meet, laughter to be had, amazing adventures to be taken. I'm going. I am going. I am not having an okay, be satisfied, enjoy just that much life. I'm having more. Does that ever come up inside of you? Do you have that burning desire inside of you for more? And you just don't know what to choose? You know what? Choose. Choose something and start seeing where it pops, where it actually pulls you. You can choose again. You are not forever locked in if you choose something and then you choose again. You're not. That's the crazy thing that we've bought, that we have to decide. We have to make that choice and we have to be good with it. I remember when my kids were in high school and they would come home and they'd be like, I have to choose what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And they were in grade 10. For the love of God, they've only been out of diapers for 15 years or maybe not even that long. Like, this is insanity that we put this kind of pressure on people. It is crazy that we have this expectation that people should have it figured out before they're 20 or even 30. My God. That buffet, they haven't even explored a third of that buffet. For goodness sakes, give them time. And would you be willing to choose something, like choose a profession, until it just no longer works for you? I was in human resources for 25 years. And getting to that space, I went back to school. I as an adult, and my son was just a couple years old, and I worked really hard to get my college degree, and then to get my certification with human resources took me about 3 or 4 years. I worked in this great big huge area where we had over 1,000 members in this HR community, and I worked on the board, and I became the president, and I did all of the things in human resources, and I really was enjoying it until I wasn't. And there became a time when I just felt like this is not fun. This was fun, and then it started to change, as in the pressures of business with human resources people is so overwhelming sometimes. And, you feel like either an office cop or, you're someone who is constantly just trying to make it and keep your head above water. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun for me. It's obviously fun for lots of other people, which is great, but I didn't allow myself to be held in that space by looking at how much time and energy I had invested into my education, how much money I had invested, and how hard I worked. Just because I worked hard to get there didn't mean I should stay there when it no longer worked. And that was so crazy. In fact, you know what, guys? There's a lot of people that I knew in that area, in that profession, and people that I worked with when I was a human resources manager, director, and they no longer speak to me because they really think that I'm crazy, that I would walk away from a perfectly good profession. Are you kidding me? It felt like it was killing me inside. And I'm cool that they think I'm crazy. You know what? I am a little crazy, and I'm so much happier because I was choosing for me. And I will continue to choose what I choose until I don't want to choose it anymore. And you've got to understand that you came here to create a life that speaks to your heart, that speaks to what turns you on and lights you up. If you are working in a profession that you're dragging your butt all of the time to and fro, and you are miserable and unhappy, think about the number of hours. You work in a year, if you work 40 hours a week, you work in a year 2,080 hours a year. 2,080 hours per year. And you're miserable and you're going to keep choosing it? What the blank? Why would you continue to do that to yourself? It really is important that we look at these things and what is actually contributing and what isn't. Now, I'm not to say just throw everything away. I'm not saying that. But if you can start to really look at what is and isn't working for you, maybe it's the employer, maybe it's the relationships, maybe it's the city you're living in, whatever. Look at the details of everything and really check in with it. And don't be afraid to choose again, even when they're crazy, because guess what? Today, because of the choices that I've made, I am living in a beautiful home. I have a thriving business. I have friends and colleagues all around the world now. And before I made that move, I had never traveled. I had never, ever traveled. I had gone on a couple little vacations, but not really traveled. And now I can't even tell you in one sitting how many places I have traveled to. I have gone to Europe 4 or 5 times. I have gone to the U.S. a great deal. I've gone across Canada. I mean, it has been absolutely amazing. And I'm like always going, okay, cool. Where am I going next? What adventure am I going to be on next? This is the change that my being and my body knew that I didn't in my brain know, because I was willing to step out of the logic and the evidence of it and really follow my knowing. Now, there's a difference between you just get a little ping and when something is really, really strong, and you want to honor all of it. And you want to absolutely ask lots and lots of questions when you're making a major move. And you know what? Working sometimes with a coach will help you to look at things from a different angle, a different perspective, because they're not as involved with it, to help you really see what's available to you and where you are locking yourself off. So we are going to go for our second break of the night. When we get back, we'll dive a little bit more into this. I'd love some more of your questions in the chat room, or you can call in for sure. So you are listening to Inspired Choices with myself, Christine McIver, here on the Inspired Choices Network. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit more. Stay tuned, everyone.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions? Or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Okay, all right. How's everybody doing? So tonight, choosing for you even when it seems scary or crazy. I said scary, but it was crazy. Scary crazy, maybe. So when in your life have you made a choice that seemed really scary or really crazy, but you knew that it was what you had to choose for you to honor you? I can tell you, I'm going to get a little personal right now. So there has been a relationship that I've been nurturing, and it's been some time in this relationship, and it didn't show up as quote-unquote normal. There was the attraction and the flirtation and the play and all of that, but it didn't evolve in the normal way that society says this is the way it's supposed to go. And when I would be in question about it and I would talk to individuals, they would say, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to yourself? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why isn't it going this way? Why isn't it going that way? And I knew every single one of those people who are dear friends of mine, it was coming from that place of really, truly caring about me. And yet there was something inside of me that absolutely said, don't walk away. I didn't have knowledge of an absolute, what was going to change, but there was something inside of me that said, choose again. Choose again. And, I would look at that relationship every day and I would actually ask, so truth, am I choosing this relationship today? And I would get a yes. And there were a couple of days where I got a no and I was like, fine, I'm done. And I would give it space, and then I would wake up and I would ask again, and then it would be like, yes. And I would choose it again. And I can tell you, through being the kindness towards myself with that choice and towards this other person with that choice, things have started to really evolve in a way that is ease and kind and gentle. And it's something that a lot of people don't get. And in fact, when I say, hey, you know what, things have changed a little bit, and I'll have people go, well, it's about damn time, and here's the thing, it's not a crazy choice to me, because every time I would step into that relationship with this person, it would be a contribution. It was always a contribution. Now, it doesn't mean it was always easy. There's times that you will make choices, and those choices, you will know that they're the right choices, and they seem crazy, and they will stretch you. Have you ever made a choice and have you ever not made a choice and expected it to always be easy? Right? How many of us go, oh my God, I made the wrong choice because this is so hard, right? And then we start to criticize ourselves. Truth be told, some of the choices that your body and your being know you should be choosing, that is exactly the direction to take you where it is you desire to go, some of those can be really stretching the limits of your capacities and your patience. And yet, when you get to the top of that mountain, when you get to the other side of that challenge, when you turn that corner, when the light starts to shine brightly, you'll go, oh my God, I had no idea that it could be this amazing. I had no idea. Truthfully, I had no idea, i.e. in my brain, that this is what was going to be created. But yet something inside of you knows. Keisha says, I'm just noticing a bit of awareness of how the place I am currently living is actually no longer working for me, and I'm choosing to change that. Fabulous. And there's, it's not Keisha's voice, it's my voice, but there was no charge on that. It's just like, cool, I'm going to leave the interesting piece of food on my plate. Cool. When you come from that energy, do you know what actually occurs? When you have none of these conclusions and decisions and all of this angst up in your energy, and you're choosing from that easy space of what I've just read, you're able to pick up more of the possibilities because you don't have these walls up, you don't have these barriers up, and your awareness can receive even more. But when you're coming in with the angst and the worry and the upset and all of that contraction in your world, you cannot see what you haven't already seen. You just can't. Your brain is going to be scrambling around like a tornado, and it's going to be wanting to find the answer in your head. And guess what? It's not going to come there. Not really. I mean, you may have claircognizance, where that's where your awarenesses drop in, but it's not in something that you've known in the past. It will be something new and expansive to contribute to you. So would you be willing to drop all of your conclusions, all of your judgments, all of your separations, all of your decisions that you've ever made about any choice in any lifetime, past, present, or future? Yeah, and just let it go. Let it leave now. You never, ever have to be held back by any choice you have ever made. And some of your choices are going to seem crazy to you too. And some of your choices may seem like you've lost your mind. When you are checking in with you, when you are stopping and really being in the presence of you, and you're taking that space to really check truth, is this the choice that will create greater? And when you step forward into your choice, whatever choice that is, in the knowing that you can always choose again, you will never be at the effect of any choice you have ever made. That's where we get hooked up. That's where we really fall down and bruise ourselves, is because we don't allow ourselves to know and to be okay with, if this doesn't work, if this is going to work until it doesn't, and I'm going to choose again when I decide to choose again. If we are actually in the relationships with our businesses, in the relationships with partners, in the relationships with family members, from that space, we take so much pressure off of ourselves, other people, our businesses, everything. We take the pressure off, and we start to create from that space of joy and possibilities and excitement. We are not coming in with that expectation. How come so many relationships, the minute that the two individuals that are totally turned on and cranked up and excited about each other, the minute that they say, okay, we're in a relationship, we're in a committed relationship, it goes clunk. Because all the expectations, the expectation door just swung wide open and all of that shit's flying in at everybody. It's like it begins to suffocate people. It begins to have men often run for the hills and women often stand there with their hands on their hip going, now listen here, this is the way it's going to be. And it's like, holy shit, this is not fun. How unkind is it to either of the people in a relationship that they allow those to come in? Because whether you are the one that's running or the one that's screaming, you're both in it. You're both creating it that way. Whether you realize it or not, you are part of that creation. And you can change it very quickly with having a really kind conversation with yourself first and with the other person second. What would it actually be like if we changed relationships from the space of kindness for us and for that person from where it's working? And it's not to say you run out the door the second it doesn't work. That's not what I'm saying at all. But when you're really present and you're really choosing from that space of kindness and you're talking and you're having some very gentle conversations around what's working and what's not working and what you desire, and you're coming from the space of that person not owning your happiness but you, it can be different. The same goes with a business. The same goes with your job, with whoever you work for. You've got to be willing to have those courageous conversations. And sometimes they seem like come to Jesus conversations, right? It's like, this is a tough one. You know, I have people that I employ. I like to say that they work with me, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that pays them for what they do. And it's not easy for me to have some courageous conversations with them. But you know what? Before I go to have that conversation, I really look at this and say, what would be honoring for me and what would be honoring for them? Because I'm like so many other people, you know, especially working in human resources for so many years. You know, I've known a lot of managers that just wanted to fire people's asses. No, get rid of them. They know what they're doing. Blah, blah, blah. Just get them out of here. I don't want to deal with them anymore. That's easy. That's just like, you know, using somebody and throwing them out with the trash. But to have those courageous conversations from the place of kindness, I choose to operate that way as someone that's running a business. I choose to operate that way with my clients. I choose to operate that way with my children. I choose to operate that way with my lover. I choose to operate that way with my family members. This isn't working, and I'd really like it to work, and what could we do to change this? And if it's not changeable, I don't need to leave that connection with that person from a space of anger and resentment. I can honor that person when we conclude our connection. Are you willing to honor you in your choices and honor others that you're connected with when you are making your choices? What would the world be like if we dignified ourselves, our creations, and everyone around us from that space of honor? And would you be willing to own your crazy choices and laugh and say, I know it's crazy, but this is what I have to choose to honor me? When I first started on the radio, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I'm sorry if this is a repeat story that you've heard before, but I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea how to do radio. I had never been on the radio. I didn't know anybody that was on the radio. I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know what kind of equipment. I didn't know how to really promote it. I didn't know. But I'm telling you, that desire in me was screaming so loudly, I couldn't not do it. And now I get why. It was from those choices, from all that I had garnered and learned and walked through, that now is a contribution to me in this business. And I know it's a contribution to the other radio show hosts that I work with, and I'm so honored to work with. I love that my choice has been able to be a contribution to others. But first, it's been a contribution to me. So we are going to go for our last break of the night. Wow, this went fast. It's pretty funny, Keisha, when I'm not sure what I'm going to say, and boom, it goes fast. So everyone, you are listening to Inspired Choices here on the Inspired Choices Network with myself, Christine McIver. And when we get back, we'll continue with choosing for you, even when it seems crazy. Stay tuned.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning in to Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions, or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
All right. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for hanging around. So, we are talking about choosing for you even when it seems crazy. So, how many choices did you not make in your life because you had decided and concluded they were too crazy? Right? I love the saying, I don't know it off by heart. Maybe one of the people in the chat room will know it, but it's like, I don't want to die and having wished I'd made those choices. I don't want to lay on my deathbed with regret. I don't want to go out wishing I had done it differently. I do believe, and I was talking about this on the Up Your Ask this morning. I was talking about, oh my God, my brain is just, there's so many people pulling on me and my brain is just all over the place. There's so many times in our lives where we have these possibilities come in and we're judging them and we're concluding that it's not okay, or it's too crazy, or it's too much, or what will people think of me? And we have this barrage in our brain, right, which is everybody else's points of view or the belief systems that you and I have bought into that are not real and true for us. So, guys, one of the tools of Access Consciousness that I love is if anything is heavy, it's a lie. So if you're struggling with something, if it's really intense, you want to look at what part of this is a lie. And it may be the entire thing, but when something like that is coming and you're questioning it, there may be a reason why you're questioning it, as well as it being not true for you, a part of it being very true for you. So if it keeps coming and keeps coming, it's like a child pulling on your skirt. Can you pay attention to me? Can you pay attention to me? Can you pay attention to me? Right? So many of us try very, very hard to ignore those nudges from our lives, the nudges from our businesses, the nudges from the universe, and we just want things to be quiet and okay. You know what? I'm telling you, if you've chosen at this time and space, my point of view is, there is so much changing right now, and there is so many things that are happening that this is a time and space for big change, and you chose to show up. Would you be willing to truly show up? One of the things I remember Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say is, I don't want to die with my song left in me. And that screamed at me so loudly, that I don't want to die with my song left in me. I want to leave the world empty, as in I've poured all of me into it. I've had the biggest life. I've chosen big. I've had big adventures. I've scraped my knees. I've butted my nose, and I've laughed till tears roll down my face. And I can tell you, I've already done that, and I'm not near done yet. So what are you asking for? What are you desiring to reach into and have more of it, even if everybody thinks you're crazy? Do you really think that all of the people that have created amazing lives, amazing businesses, knew exactly how it was going to happen and chose from that space? No. What they did was they followed that whisper, they followed that urge, they followed that pull inside of them that said, yes, I'm choosing this. And they did it from the space of excitement and joy and possibilities. And when that was no longer true, they chose again. And that's okay. This is a luscious, full world. You can keep on choosing again and again and again. The possibilities are endless, my friends. I would love to see more people pushing those boundaries within themselves and choosing and flying. Like even our beautiful producer Keisha, she pushed her own walls, and she created an amazing song. And it's out there on the internet, and everyone can get it and listen to it. And oh my gosh, it tugs on my heart, something fierce every time that I hear it. What would it be like if you were actually doing that, if you were actually reaching deep down inside of you and following what was true for you? Keisha's song is called Global Embrace, and you can just look up Keisha Clark, Global Embrace. You will absolutely love it. So we're coming up to the end of the show. I did talk about a lot of the things that I'm creating. I would love to have you come and play in the Up Your Ask program. If there's nothing else that really pops for you, I'm telling you, we're having a ball in there. It's only $25 if you get in before May the 10th. It's so much fun. And next week, the show will be Copycatting is the Greatest Form of Flattery. How many people are copying each other out there? And we're going into some pretty intense spaces. Did you know that that's actually a form of flattery? And we're going to dive into that, and we might even have some surprise guests jump on and share with what's going on for them. Who knows? I wonder who I could challenge out there to share that with all of us, so we can all get past this intensity when it comes to somebody copycatting what they do. A couple of weeks ago, I can't remember the exact date, but I did a show on surprise guest. Woohoo! I don't know who the surprise guest is, Faith. It will be a surprise to me as well. A couple weeks ago, I did another show on intense judgment, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was all around this space of creating and choosing. So, my friends, thank you so much for joining. You can check out all my archives here on the Inspired Choices Network, where I have well over 100 shows, and we have thousands of shows on the network that you can check out in our archives. Until next week, please remember, you can always make another choice. Have an amazing week. have some fun, and choose for you.
Thank you
no
for
matter
choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.